Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is Roughing the Pundit. And of course, joining me every week will be two people to hash it out on the wide world of sports. This week, our very first episode, joining us from Dallas, Texas, it is Ari Temkin. You can listen to Ari on 105.3 The Fan, Dallas Cowboys pre and post. And of course, you can also catch his daily show right here on Phantom, facebook.com/watchphantom at noon Central, Monday through Friday. Also joining us from Kansas City, Missouri, it is Joshua Brisco, host of Almost Entirely Sports on ESPN Kansas City. And of course, you can check out his short-form videos on Phantom as well. Gentlemen, how are you?
I'm glad we finally came up with a decent name for this show. It only took a week, and it only took basically the worst show name in the history of the world to get us up off the mat.
I don't understand why you guys hated that name so much. I thought just Puntin' It was a great name.
Right. Because who wants to watch a show that just encourages punting from the show?
I mean, Dustin Colquitt's family alone is like 40% of the population of Kansas City. So I would say that there's a lot of people out there.
Isn't it an embarrassment for a team to be an indoor football team but play in a cold weather city? Like, you're embarrassing yourself, Indianapolis. You can't play in the snow and the cold. You're embarrassing yourself, Indianapolis.
Speaking of embarrassment to themselves, here is Joshua Brisco, who's finally getting an opportunity to talk.
Thank you. I just wanted to say, just like TJ did, yes, welcome back to the show. Everyone watching the first episode of this show ever, welcome back.
Well, I know that you don't believe in anything that doesn't happen right in front of you, Josh, but there was actually a segment on this show before you, so...
Welcome back to the good part.
That is Joshua Brisco. Gentlemen, let's get right into it. The New England Patriots...
Wait, hold on. Is that a wall or is that Josh's face? I can't tell the difference.
No, I think Josh has been held... He's captive now. He is in an underground bunker somewhere. He's in somebody's basement. Probably, if Patrick Mahomes ever goes missing... I know exactly who to look at first. Suspect number one will be Joshua Brisco, and I'll be able to tell because of just how depressing the walls look.
I'm just saying, could we not find either an off-white wall or an off-white co-host?
Josh is going to blend into the background like a polar bear.
That's true.
That's how he sneaks up on his prey. It's a defense. It's a mechanism. It's a predatory mechanism to help him accomplish his goal.
Well, it's a great evolutionary tactic, Josh, and I applaud you for it.
Go to hell, you guys.
All right. Speaking of predatory, the New England Patriots, they sucked all season. They were terrible. Everybody said the Patriots dynasty is over with. And then lo and behold, the Los Angeles Chargers. The Los Angeles Chargers waltz into Gillette Stadium and get absolutely destroyed by the Patriots. Were they just rope-a-doping us, guys? Josh, let's start with you. Were you surprised at all to see the Patriots look very Patriot-esque here in the first game of the postseason?
No, this has been baffling to watch. The Patriots were undefeated at home this year. They only ever trailed to the Chiefs, who, in case you haven't noticed, are a very good football team while in Gillette Stadium. And they're 3-5 on the road. They were a bad road team and a perfect home team. This is exactly what the Patriots are. I expected them to beat the Chargers, and I expect them to lose at Arrowhead to the Chiefs. That's exactly where I'm at with the Patriots right now. Not getting that number one seed and the home field advantage throughout the playoffs, I think is going to be the thing that costs them from going to the Super Bowl.
Ari?
I tell you, the Chiefs win one playoff game, and all of a sudden, their fan base is supremely confident. I do think it's funny that the New England Patriots have been viewed as like a bad team this year, despite the fact they're one of the only two teams in the playoffs that finished top 10 into points per possession offense and points per possession defense. The other team being the Chargers that they just beat. So I expect them to go into Arrowhead and beat the Chiefs like every other playoff team has done in the last 40 years, except for the Chargers.
Whoa.
Or Colts.
Except for the Colts.
Colts.
Well, okay, so apparently this segment has now become more about the Chiefs than it has about the Patriots, which I think is kind of what Tom Brady's point was, Josh, after the game. Everybody's been doubting the Patriots this year because they've got this new toy. They've got this new thing, Patrick Mahomes. He's new. He's sexy. He's kind of big and dumb and just like he's throwing amazing passes. Everybody loves this kid, and they're ready to be rid of Tom Brady. The question is, will that actually happen? My guess is that the second that we think that the Patriots are dead, the second that we think Tom Brady is over the hill, that's when he scores 50 against the Chiefs in Arrowhead Stadium to lead them into the Super Bowl. And then afterwards, we all wonder why on earth anybody would ever have doubted Tom Brady and the Patriots.
I'm not writing off Tom Brady by any means. I just think the Chiefs are in a better position here, and you look at the Patriots throughout the scope of this season. Tom Brady playing the "we're actually an underdog" card after the game was absolutely absurd and very Patriot. But this is not an underdog story. They're still the Patriots. They're still Goliath. But there's finally a David in Patrick Mahomes that can throw a stone through Tom Brady and Bill Belichick's heads collectively. It's gruesome, I'm sorry. But there's finally a challenger, so everyone's excited to see if this version of whoever it is, it was Andrew Luck at one point, and it was Ben Roethlisberger for a while, and for a while we had Peyton Manning as an actual challenger. There's a new one, so everyone's excited about someone who might get a chance to take down Goliath. It's just we like the matchup. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Well, and to follow up on that, I do think that there are a lot of reasons to like the Chiefs, obviously. But the Chiefs haven't really, other than the Patriots and the Rams, two of the four teams left in the playoffs, other than those two teams, nobody really ever was a test for the Chiefs. The Chiefs didn't have problems over the course of the season. And as we've seen in the past, a lot of teams that have that in the regular season end up really struggling at some point when they do come up against some adversity in the postseason. Now, look, sometimes it's not until the Super Bowl when that stuff happens. We saw the Carolina Panthers go 15-1, waltz through the NFC, and then were totally unprepared for the Broncos in the Super Bowl. Those kinds of, same thing with the Vikings. You go all the way back to the offense that most people look at and say, well, that's what the Chiefs offense looks a lot like. That Dante Culpepper Vikings offense that was just prolific. Everybody was looking at that offense and saying, who can beat this team? They end up losing in the NFC Championship game. Does that not just, do the Chiefs not smell a lot like those situations?
The defense was so good against Indianapolis that I'm just kind of glancing around, like waiting for the episode of Punk'd to pop out. Like, just kidding, the defense is still terrible. But if it's not, then they're gonna win this game by 2 touchdowns. I think the defense takes a step backwards. The thing that I think you have to keep in mind there is they had the tests of the Patriots and Rams and Seahawks. They lost all 3 of those games, and the Chargers at home. But they dispatched the Colts with so much vigor that I think you have to feel pretty good about the fact that they're beating good teams. They made the Colts look like a 6 seed after a week of no one saying that you should treat them like a 6 seed. I think that's largely to the Chiefs' credit, not to their detriment.
I guess I'm kind of rooting for the Chiefs only from a standpoint of the Chiefs and Rams would give us the greatest contrast between the looks of the coach we've ever seen in the history. I mean, imagine that. Andy Reid could literally eat Sean McVay.
I mean, I don't. He's got the space for it. I don't know if he's not a cannibal, so I don't know if he would literally eat Sean McVay. He would eat Sean McVay-sized food. If you gave him hamburger meat in the shape of Sean McVay, I think he would. Yeah. He'd go to town on that thing.
Yeah, I think Bill Belichick is actually a better bet to literally eat Sean McVay.
That I agree with 100%. There is no doubt about it. Okay, so I think the Chiefs have a really good shot here. I really, really do. Arrowhead helps them quite a bit. Although I will say that this is probably the most insincere I will ever be in picking against the Patriots. I can't do it. It's against every fiber in my bone, in my body. But I've been wrong about the Chiefs all season long. So why not here at the finish line pull a Costanza, go against my instincts to pick the Patriots, everything that I know to be right and good about football, and pick the Chiefs, who, it's astonishing, the only team that could ever make me like the Patriots is this year's Kansas City Chiefs team. Good job, Chiefs fans.
It's
Good
almost
job.
like
We don't want you.
Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce are really good, and so like one of them is always going to be open, and then they have a good quarterback that can find them. I mean, it's weird how easy it seems things are for them. It's almost like they're really good.
Well, every time I watch the Chiefs play, I just feel like I'm watching a toddler play on the easiest setting on Madden. Like, that's how I feel like it is. It's just like push the
100%.
A button 7 times, then he shoots the ball 70 yards downfield to some guy you didn't even know was there.
Yeah, right. And then it's like, what happened to not Kareem Hunt? Like all of a sudden, there's another guy out there, and he's still as good. And it's like, I don't know what his name is. I'm just gonna call him not Kareem Hunt, and he'll be as good as Kareem Hunt was. Is that what they call him
is his
too in
name,
Kansas
by the
City?
way.
Do they say touchdown? Not Kareem Hunt.
Kareem Hunt. 100%. Yep.
Not Kareem Hunt.
That's the call.
Kansas City.
Touchdown,
That's a
guy who never
really-
kicked a woman. Yeah.
That's a really good Mitch Holthus, Ari. I feel like you've gotten some practice at that. That's a really, really well done. Okay, all right. Coming up after the break, we're going to go through our secondary topics here. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about around the NFL playoffs. It's all coming up next here on Roughing the Pundit. Welcome back to Roughing the Pundit. I'm TJ Carpenter. Joining me is Ari Temkin from Dallas, Texas, and of course Joshua Brisco from Kansas City. And gentlemen, as we get into it here, playoffs went pretty well for all of the top-seeded teams, not so well for everybody else. The Chargers and Cowboys in particular just got absolutely gashed on the ground. We've been seeing a lot of these high-flying offenses through the air in the regular season, but the running game's been pretty devalued, as I think people in Dallas well know, because Ezekiel Elliott led the league in rushing yards this year and was totally overlooked, I feel like, by a lot of people. Dare I say it? Who was it who said, I think Mike Wilbon said it last week, that he believed Ezekiel Elliott, astonishingly an underrated back. You could make that argument. I tend to agree with that. You know who's not underrated? Todd Gurley. He looked really good. The Rams looked great on the ground against the Cowboys. The Patriots looked phenomenal on the ground as well. Sony Michel had a huge day against the Chargers. Ari, let's start with you. Who do you think had a worse day against the run, the Cowboys or the Chargers?
First off, I've got to say, quoting Michael Wilbon, you think about the great thinkers of the world history, Socrates, Plato, Michael Wilbon.
That's right.
I mean, just fits.
Great,
I'm sorry, your question
generational,
was?
once in a lifetime mind.
Do you have any other Michael Wilbon quotes you'd like to get out of the way before we continue on, or?
I think it's one of his best quotes. These pretzels are making me thirsty.
You know, Josh won't get Seinfeld references. He's too young. Your question was most impressive. It had to be the 273 yards that the Los Angeles Rams put up. Not just because Gurley had a big day, but the
C.J. Anderson
how
as
would
well.
You even describe him as the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man? I mean,
That's pretty good.
He was literally sitting at his couch eating Cheetos, and the Rams were like, "Hey, would you like to run for 7 yards a carry?" And he's like, "Sure." And I know he was literally sitting on his couch eating Cheetos because I can see him. Like, that's insane how fat he is and how effective he is. Even coming into this game, he was at 7 yards a carry, but he had 100 yards rushing. Todd Gurley had 100 yards rushing. I mean, the Cowboys were like Oprah. Like, you get 100 yards rushing, and you get 100 yards rushing, and you get 100 yards rushing.
To back up your point, Ari, it's C.J. Anderson. This is true. 2 training camps ago, I nicknamed C.J. Anderson C.J. Fatterson based off of how fat he was in training camp. That was 2 years ago, and he has put on weight since then.
It's a bad pun, though.
Right, and he was skinny back then.
That's right. That's right. He was in football shape back then.
So the Cowboys had this great defense that clearly was not very great in giving up 200. I mean, it was a joke how easy 6, 7, 8 yards a carry was against them, and that was obviously what did the Cowboys in.
Josh?
TJ, the thing that offended me there is that you CJ Fatterson is not a good pun.
It's not at all.
Nope.
CJ Hammerson, maybe? Like, I just thought of that just now, so I'm disappointed in you.
Hammerson.
Ham. like the pig.
I got it.
Meat.
I got it.
It's all in the tone. It's all in the delivery,
I'm-
Josh.
I'm gonna say that the Rams was I guess more impressive, but I'll say that the Patriots is because of the defense the Rams are going against. That's the real argument here, is that the Cowboys' run defense had more reason to be afraid of them than the Chargers. But the Patriots' running game is more important, and it's also more versatile because they're constantly doing it with nobodies. But now they have Sony Michel instead of 47 guys they rotate through and then just spit out. James White out of the backfield isn't usually even on the ground, but it's sort of an extension of the running game. This is the thing that's going to let the Patriots keep winning the AFC East for the next 3 or 4 years, or as long as Tom Brady wants to win the AFC East, because he doesn't go downfield anymore. You even got to see a little bit in that game. The downfield accuracy has gone. The downfield arm strength has gone a little bit for Brady. If he can rely on that running game and then also the short passing game from those running backs, he's going to do this for
Well, his downfield targets are gone too. You know, not having Brandon Cooks there has certainly changed how that offense works. And I think it changed that offense a lot more than anybody was willing to give it credit for, just because we're just assuming, oh, it's plug and play because it's the Patriots. But it did. It impacted their down the field game. But it doesn't really matter who they're handing the ball off to, as you mentioned, Josh. It could be James White. It could be Chris Hogan out of the backfield. It could be one of many a cornucopia of tiny white guys. It could be any of those. That's right, any of them, and they're gonna pick up yards. Sony Michel is very, very impressive, but I think you guys are right. The Rams and what they did. That's a recipe. I don't know how you stop that. I don't know what the Saints are going to do against that rushing attack. If they're playing well and if they're getting the ball at a very comfortable pace to both of those guys, and they don't have to worry about wearing out Todd Gurley, I don't know how you stop that rushing attack, Ari.
Maybe just the defensive line just stands there and hands powdered donuts to C.J. Anderson and hope that he stops.
Hey CJ, over here. And then just throw it, and then he chases the powdered donut.
I mean, he can't. It's like a magnet. He's gotta go after the powdered donuts. I don't know. And there was an article that came out that said that that the Cowboys, the Rams, knew what fronts they were getting defensively, so they knew how to run against them. So I mean, if that's the case, then they're gonna have to know what the New Orleans Saints are doing. But I don't know if I buy that. It's funny because I think Cowboys fans are going to be willing to buy whatever narrative tells them that Scott Linehan completely messed this game up, their offensive coordinator. So, this idea that there was the defensive staff that was giving up the calls, that's it does not compute because they love Chris Richard, their defensive coordinator. So it's kind of an interesting sort of dynamic where after this game you want to be mad at Linehan, and then all of a sudden it's actually it was the defense and their staff that messed this up.
All right, moving on. Oh, go ahead, Josh.
To the point of how you counter that, you're going to have to outscore them. The Saints can do it. The Chiefs can do it. The Patriots, I don't think can. I don't think you can outrun the Rams. You have to score fast.
I agree. And look, you know what? I think that's one of the things that the Rams did really well. They kept the ball away from the Cowboys, and that put a ton of pressure on Dak Prescott, who, let's be honest, I mean, he's not Drew Brees. He's not going to just pick you apart. So. We'll see a very interesting matchup here in both the AFC and the NFC. So we go from best weekends to worst weekends. Who had the worst weekend in you guys' mind? Was it the Colts? Was it the Chargers? Was it the Cowboys? Josh, let's start with you.
It's a really good question because all three of them were outed as not being quite as close as they thought they might be of those three. Where the Colts thought their defense was legitimate, and it wasn't. And the offensive line got pretty well manhandled. The Chargers got the most embarrassed. But I think the Cowboys were the team that actually felt like they were going to win that game the most. All three of them absolutely had chances going into the week. But for me, I look at the Cowboys as the team that left that feeling like they got upset. So on that level, I think it's the Cowboys. As far as being shown out as a fraud, I think it's the Colts because they were so thoroughly embarrassed on both sides of the ball. And for national shame, it was the Chargers.
I'd say that pretty well covers it. I mean, I just think the Colts are an embarrassment because, you're from a cold weather city, but you play inside, and so therefore when you go on the road in cold weather and snow, you look like a horrible, embarrassing shame. So, I mean, look, there's 100 reasons why they lost. The weather certainly shouldn't have played that big of a factor, but it just seemed like from the start They did not want to be in those conditions, and the Chiefs were fine playing in it, and it just is another sort of indoor team playing outdoors. The only difference is the other ones we talk about are like Atlanta, Arizona, Dallas. Like, you're in Indy.
Yeah. Well,
Stop embarrassing yourself.
let's see. The correct answer is Cowboys. Yes, it was the Cowboys. That's the answer we were looking for. Cowboys most embarrassing. And here's why. As Josh pointed out, Colts were kind of a surprise. It started off 1-5. We had very low expectations mid-season for what they were supposed to be. Anything that they did after 1-5 was gravy. So they should feel really good about their season. Then
Right, and they have a young up-and-coming quarterback, obviously, who just doesn't have a bunch of shoulder surgeries that he's got behind his belt. Totally, yeah, no, for sure.
And then the Chargers, once again, same kind of deal. I wasn't really expecting them to be that good. I wasn't expecting them to be like world beaters by any stretch.
Right.
So you go look at the Cowboys, though. The Cowboys have been lauded.
Right, they started 3-5. You expect they'd be a dominant team.
Their defense has been lauded. They were a defensive-based team who had shut down elite-level opponents. And the Colts hadn't really done that. The Chargers hadn't really done that. But, man, that impressive performance against the Saints, where that defense literally took one of, if not the best offenses in the league, totally out of the game. And then they come up and they don't even show up for the game. They did not show up, Ari. And I blame you.
You're right.
It's your fault.
I'll take the L.
All right, moving on. Okay, so our third topic here, old versus new. We're seeing a changing of the guard. Will we see a changing of the guard? We've got brand new Jared Goff versus the very old but still very effective Drew Brees. And then on the other side, we have the even more new, brand new, shiny, spanking new Kansas City Chiefs Patrick Mahomes versus the even older Tom Brady. Will we see a changing of the guard in either conference? Ari, let's start with you.
No.
All right, Josh, how about you?
Please, God, no.
Yes.
Please, God, no. Not
Yes.
this year. We'll give them a few more years, but let's throw the baby out with the bathwater. Literally, let's do it. Throw them out with the bathwater.
Throw a baby. That is Ari's take on this topic. Throw a baby.
Well, the babies here are Mahomes and Jared Goff, so let's throw the babies out with the bathwater. Look, what has Patrick Mahomes ever done in the playoffs?
Literally nothing.
He's got one win. One win in the playoffs? Wow, one win?
1-0. 1,000%.
Yeah. He's undefeated. He's undefeated, Ari.
What has he
Is
ever
Tom
done in the
Brady
playoffs?
undefeated in the
What has Jared-
playoffs? No.
What has Jared Goff ever done in the playoffs? Unbelievable. Those guys haven't done anything in the playoffs. And last I checked, you have to do things in the playoffs before you can do things in the playoffs.
Josh, I need you to suppress
Thank you.
your excitement / sexual energy for a couple of moments.
I could see it from here.
And just give us some honest analysis on what you think here. Will we see a changing of the guard in the NFL or not?
Changing of the guard, no, because I think that the 4 teams that were playing in the AFC this weekend are going to be the favorites to be playing as the 4 teams in the AFC next year also. So I think we're going to see that happen slowly over a couple of years. But I do think the Chiefs are going to beat the Patriots at Arrowhead. Right now, I'm staying on both home teams. So I don't think that the Rams overtake the Saints. And even if they do, Jared Goff is not a torch taker. If Brees passes it over, Jared Goff is not a quarterback that can take it. Patrick Mahomes is, but I think it would be silly to say, oh, there's been a passing of the torch because he beat Tom Brady once. The Patriots and the Chiefs and very likely the Colts and the Chargers with the other contenders from the AFC, those teams are going to keep repeating. Neither the Saints nor the Patriots will fall off the face of the earth no matter what happens this weekend. But I do think the Chiefs are a deserving favorite, and the Rams are an extremely strong, talented team with a brilliant, handsome head coach, as we've already pointed out. But I'm still leaning Saints on that side.
Very handsome.
All right, so you've got Chiefs Saints. You got Chiefs Saints in the Super Bowl. Ari, what do you have?
This is a good one. So those are the 4 teams.
Yeah, haven't thought about this one yet.
Let's go Patriots because I mean,
it's Tom Brady.
Who doesn't root for the volcano to win, right?
Sure.
And then let's go Saints, Patriots Saints, so we can just stick with the old guys, right?
Yes.
Drew Brees, Tom Brady, let's just go with what we know. Let's just go with what we know and what we're comfortable with.
Well,
I don't like change.
Here's what I do know. What I expect to see this next weekend is Chris Collinsworth's head explode, and then just rainbows and trapper keepers with Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady and hearts just come out of his body. I don't know what kind of play-by-play we're going to get from NBC. All I know is that Chris Collinsworth might die from excitement. And the only other person I think who feels that way about either of the quarterbacks is Josh. Josh is...
No. Doesn't CBS have that game? I think Tony Romo is the one who's going to lose his
well,
game.
he's not. I wish Collinsworth were doing that game. I really do wish NBC were doing that game.
Romo's getting to go to a Super Bowl, guys.
Finally.
He did it. Congratulations to Tony Romo.
And he didn't fumble the hold or nothing.
Yeah. No, he's going to fumble his boarding pass. He's going to fall into a shredder, and then all of a sudden, Phil Simms is back now doing a Super Bowl.
I would love to see Tony Romo just fumble his pass out of the press box, and then Jim Nantz jumps over to go save it. I got you, Tony.
Yes. Just so Phil Simms doesn't have to come back.
That's right. He's so nice, like not Phil Simms.
If that happened, they'd have to call in Kansas City Chiefs fan #1, Kevin Harlan, to save the day.
That's right. They would. Yes.
He's an excellent broadcaster.
He is an excellent broadcaster.
So that would help. That would be better than Phil Simms.
He's the best. He's also a Jayhawk. I don't know if you guys knew that.
All right. Okay. That's our
easily the second most famous Kansas Jayhawk in radio. Easily. Second. #2.
I hate you so much right now. Okay, all right, moving on.
Hate's fine.
Coming up after the break, you make the call. That's coming up next here on Roughing the Pundit. Welcome back to Roughing the Pundit. I'm TJ Carpenter. You can follow me on Twitter at TJ Carpenter Show. And those two hooligans you see are Joshua Brisco and Ari Temkin. You can follow Josh at JB Brisco. You can follow Ari at Ari Sports. All right, gentlemen, it's your call here. I'm going to give you a situation that's come up in sports. You make the call on what the right thing to do is. Let's start with Kyler Murray. He's got a really tough decision here. The A's have countered the news that he is entering the NFL draft by making him a better offer, more money. Come play baseball. What does Kyler Murray do? Josh, let's start with you. You make the call.
I have a clarifying question for you first, TJ. Has baseball changed the rules recently to where you can wield baseball bats as a weapon to injure the other players?
No, they have not.
Okay, then he should play that sport and not the one that Aaron Donald is in. Get your money. Listen, I understand not wanting to hang out in the minor leagues for a long time, but if you feel like you could play either sport professionally, which he obviously can, go play the one that doesn't have Aaron Donald and Ndamukong Suh coming at you all the time. Also, I would say the main thing here, good on Kyler Murray for using the leverage as an ex-student athlete. He has leverage to make more money right out of the gate. Good on Kyler Murray.
All right, Ari, would you, if you're Kyler Murray, would you move to Midland, Texas to play for the Rough Riders, the AA affiliate for the Oakland A's? Or would you take a risk to both your ACL and your PCL in both knees and go to the NFL?
Yeah, I'd risk my body, TJ, because, I don't know, I'd rather play a sport that people watch, like people that are living and breathing watch. And
it's a good counter-argument, to be honest. It's an extremely strong counter-argument.
It's great. Kyler Murray wants to play baseball. I hope it's still around in 5 years. People that watch it won't be. I kid. I like baseball. I did when I was a kid, and I liked boring sports. But, look, I get it. Yes, you could have greater longevity in playing a sport like baseball, but I also get the popularity component of it, and I also get how desperate baseball is for Kyler Murray to be in their sport. They couldn't be more desperate if they were a 6-year-old at a candy store. It's, my God, baseball, get off of Kyler Murray's nuts.
Well, hey, you guys need to remember this, though. Jeff Samardzija, college football player turned professional baseball player, got a contract with the San Francisco Giants for $78 million, and he's not even good. So
much money.
It's so much. It's so much.
Say, this is definitely a first in this young show, but I think I would like to change my answer based off the other panelists' logic. but also you can make so much money in baseball.
True.
It's astonishing. I like the number of players who are above Aaron Rodgers in both baseball and the NBA is ridiculous. It's stupid. Some of the names that are on that list of people who are making more money playing a game than Aaron Rodgers, who is the best at playing a game that I think I've in my lifetime. I mean, I don't know. Skill-wise, Aaron Rodgers, best quarterback ever, right? He's making less than he's making less than Jeff Samardzija.
Right.
Like,
No,
it's
I know.
ridiculous.
It's like make a bunch of money or play a horribly boring sport that nobody pays attention to. I mean, it's tough. It's tough balance there, right?
That's right. Well, look at Johnny Manziel. Look at Teddy, not Teddy
Johnny
Bridgewater.
Manziel. He is also another person that is a mammal that breathes air and drinks water.
Look at him. Just look at him.
Look at him. Look at him. Stuffing his face with cocaine. You look ridiculous.
There's the other option of playing both. Eh?
No.
That's not an option.
No, it's not an option.
No? Just no. Okay, all right. By the way, the only dual sport athlete that I legitimately want to see right now is Nikola Jokic. If you've seen that guy throw the basketball, he could very easily play quarterback in this league. That guy is a cannon.
Yeah, easily. That's all it's about, TJ. Throw a ball hard.
DJ's Eastern
if you're 7 feet
European.
tall.
He couldn't play baseball. He couldn't play football. His life depended on it.
He's not even athletic. He's just 7 feet tall. Physically, he's Greg Ostertag.
If he played in literally any other city, people might pay attention to him.
No. I'm in Denver, and he's the best player in any sport that we have in this town. Nobody cares. No, nobody cares. Doesn't matter.
Like if
John Elway signed him to play quarterback, they would care. And also, that might happen.
If you show Von Miller,
It should.
If you show Von Miller riding a tricycle versus Nikola Jokic highlights in Denver, Von Miller on a tricycle would do way better.
Von Miller sleeping in his bed. Like if they were watching Von Miller in some like Truman-style reality TV show where they just follow him around all the time, that's going to get more ratings. Him asleep in bed than a Nuggets game will in Denver. Okay, moving on to our next topic. Look at this picture. Tom Brady's jacket made waves across the internet last year in the postseason for being enormous. It's gotten bigger, has it not? Ari, let's start with you. Has his coat physically gotten larger?
Either that or he's gotten smaller.
Oh.
No longer taking HGH, obviously.
I like that.
Darth Helmet. Is that what I'm reminded of? Again, Josh, this is not a reference you'll get.
I get it, but that is dusty, my dude.
Yes. That's what I thought of when I saw this picture of Tom Brady, was Rick Moranis. I thought Tom Brady, the Rick Moranis of quarterbacks.
Hey, people don't remember this, but Rick Moranis was a BFD at one point.
His jacket has gotten bigger, but whenever I saw it, I thought of him being an extra in that terrible, terrible Kanye and Lil Pump song music video. I don't remember what it's called. Most of the words in it I can't say on this show. But they have like those giant like Minecraft bodies and tiny little heads and giant flip-flops. It's weird. The song's not good. Lil Pump's not good. Kanye might not be good anymore. I don't know. But that's what I was reminded of. That Brady is now planning like a music appearance where he's going to take that giant Minecraft jacket and appear in another terrible Kanye song.
What do you think is going on inside that jacket?
I can't say. This is a family-friendly show.
I mean, I hope that he's playing Fortnite or something. He's spending his time usefully. Okay. All right, final question here for this segment.
I think Josh McDaniels is under there. That's what I'll say. I think Josh McDaniels is just huddled under there like the children underneath the feet of the ghost of Christmas past, where he is just hiding him away from other teams that want him to come be their new head coach. No, Josh.
So, Josh McDaniels is using the jacket for shelter, is what you're saying, to protect him from the elements.
To protect him from the Packers and the Browns, yes.
That's right. That's right. Or him playing practical jokes on the Colts again for some reason. Okay, so you make the call, guys. I don't know what to do here. The Eagles did lose, obviously, this weekend, but But it wasn't because of Nick Foles. Nick Foles has played phenomenally well every time he's come in. And I know that his numbers aren't that impressive. He hasn't really been given an opportunity to put up impressive
Other than
numbers.
his numbers, he's been very impressive.
What are we
The
doing?
dude wins, and his situational
He didn't
football
win.
is very
A
impressive.
bad kicker missed a kick, and that got him to the next round, and then he played okay against the Saints. And now everybody's jumping off like he's the greatest quarterback since Drew Brees. A bad kicker missed a kick. And now everybody wants to celebrate his failures, which I'm not on board with. Get off the Today Show, Cody Parker. You're a failure. I'm not celebrating your failure, you failure.
All right. Are you done, Ari? You done with your
I just hate,
Cody
I
Parkey?
hate the world we live in now where somebody fails and now they have to be paraded around town so we can discuss how great his failure was and how he all needs to feel better about himself and let's give him cookies and talk about how great he is. He's a failure. Keep him off my television screen.
That's what I need. That's, to quote Ari Temkin at the bottom of the screen. You're a failure and I hate you. This is what I hate about life. So you're anti-Foles. Josh, what about you?
Yeah, Alshon Jeffrey did Nick Foles a favor because Alshon Jeffrey is now the scapegoat because he let the ball go through his hands to get picked off instead of whenever Nick Foles was going to throw a good old-fashioned interception like 2 passes later.
Right.
It's crazy. It's all over the place. It's like, oh, man, he's got this magic or whatever. Nick Foles is a perfectly average quarterback. Nick Foles, well, not even next year this wouldn't have even been the case, but I was going to say that he's Kirk Cousins being used correctly. He's Kirk Cousins being paid the right amount of money.
Yep.
Derek Carr behind that offensive line would have looked really damn good last year also. And as the offensive line goes away a little bit, his job gets harder, and he retreats some. He's a totally middle-of-the-road, fine quarterback. Some team's going to pay him too much money, and please God, Eagles, don't trade Carson Wentz.
Nick Foles would start for over half the teams in this league over their current starting quarterback. I think that Nick, he absolutely should.
Starting, what do you get? Like a 12 then? 15 maybe?
Start going down the list of names. Like Carson Wentz, you'd start Nick Foles over Case Keenum. You start him over Case Keenum. You'd start him over Eli Manning. You'd start him over insert Redskins quarterback here. You'd start him over whoever the Dolphins have.
Are we doing this? Are we doing the list? Let's do the list.
No, I'm just saying, like, Nick Foles has great arm strength. He's got a pretty good track record.
He doesn't have great arm strength. Are you high?
Look,
Seriously,
Josh,
DJ,
just because you've been watching Patrick Mahomes throw holes through walls all season does not mean Nick Foles does not have good arm strength.
Play with me.
He doesn't.
Let's play the game with me. Next 5 years, quarterback A or B, okay? Are you with me on this?
No.
Just count it off. Count off how many, just let me know, okay? It's Nick Foles or Josh Rosen.
Nick Foles are next 5 years?
Yes, God, answer the question quickly.
Foles.
You're wrong. Okay. Matt Ryan.
Foles. I'll take Nick Foles.
Silly. Lamar Jackson.
Oh, definitely Foles for sure for all day.
Josh
Lamar
Allen.
Jackson's going to get hurt. Josh Rosen's going to get hurt. Matt Ryan's going to be dead in 5 years. Give me Nick Foles.
Mitch Trubisky. Of those six, did you just take Nick Foles over all of them?
Okay, Mitch Trubisky is white Donovan McNabb. I don't need that in my life. I need Nick Foles.
I would take all 6 of those guys over Nick Foles, and I hate you. We're done with this game.
Yeah.
I am floored right now, TJ.
I'd take
Floored.
Casey
Right.
Kasem over Nick Foles at this point. Or whatever his name is.
Casey Kasem is dead.
No, whatever the quarterback of the Broncos name is. Whatever his name is. Casey Kasem.
Case Keenum.
Casey Kasem.
Casey
whatever it is.
Kasem.
I'd take him over Chase. Take him over Cheeseums. I would take Nick Foles.
I'd take him over Jay Cutler. I would definitely take him over Jay Cutler.
You realize there were teams, including the Cowboys, who were thinking Jay Cutler might be an option for them if something were to happen or something had happened. I mean, like, you guys are just spoiled. Especially Ari's acting like Dak Prescott is a clear-cut, like, no doubt about it, better than Nick Foles. I don't know. I mean, Nick Foles makes some plays, man. I think Nick Foles on the right team in the right situation.
Here lies TJ Carpenter.
I found 25 quarterbacks, TJ. 25. Just scrolling through a list of team logos. 25 I'd take over Nick Foles.
Who are the 7 you wouldn't?
Yeah, it's good. Oh, for me? I don't know who Washington's quarterback is. Jameis.
Alex Smith?
Probably. Well, I don't know. His leg is like in pieces. If Alex was healthy, I'd rather have Alex Smith. So we'll go ahead and keep him.
Alex Smith may not have a leg. We don't even know. We haven't seen him in public.
He just broke his leg.
Bruce Arians is going to make Jameis look better. So Derek Carr, I think I'm out on. I don't know. That one's really close. Eli, definitely Eli. Definitely whoever. Well, I think I'd take Tannehill actually. So Eli, Blake Bortles, Cheeseums.
Oh God, the Jaguars are going to pay him a ton of money.
And that's the list.
That's what's going to happen.
That's it. I got 3 teams. It might be 29.
The Jaguars are going to pay him a ton of money.
And the Dolphins.
And when Nick Foles leads the Jags to the Super Bowl, you guys are both going to be ashamed of yourselves.
Yes.
I won't be because he's a fine quarterback, and that's all the Jags have needed for 2 years. Is an okay quarterback.
I will bring shame upon my family when Nick Foles leads the Jaguars to a Super Bowl. Yes.
He's more accurate than Cam Newton is downfield.
Obviously.
And Mitch Trubisky.
Combined. He's basically Cam Newton.
Is this show over? I'm so angry.
Hey, he is tall. So, John Elway loves tall players. Denver, Broncos.
And this
is how we make choices
his dad's a
in the adult world, Josh.
So he's smart.
This is how we make decisions, Josh. This is how we make decisions in the adult world. Who's taller?
You're so wrong. That's good. That's good to know. Thank you. Whenever I'm in the adult world, I'm sure I'll use the same logic.
Well, hey, look, you'll know this one day when Patrick Mahomes is running Kansas City the way that John Elway is running Denver right now, and then you'll realize why do people listen to him? Why can't he? Is he just perfect? Does he never make any mistakes? Oh no, he's already made all the choices he's ever going to put effort into. This is the BS that the rest of us have to deal with until he's dead. How's he going to be the GM of the Chiefs while also being the president of the United States? It's valid question, Josh. It's a valid question. You get to talk about whatever you want to talk about coming up next here on Rough and the Pundit. Welcome back to Rough and the Pundit. I'm TJ Carpenter, Joshua Brisco, Ari Temkin joining me for this first episode of Roughing the Pundit. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Every show we're going to end it the same way. We get to talk about whatever the bleep we want to talk about. Ari, let's start with you. What's on your mind?
You know what they say, TJ? Defense wins championships. Which is why the 4 teams left in the NFL were the top 4 offenses in the NFL. Go figure. Looks like defense doesn't win championships, and any team trying to build itself up through defense in 2019 in the NFL is completely and utterly rejecting every trend that we've seen. The Cowboys this season said multiple times throughout the season, we're not an offense that scores a lot of points. We're not built to score a lot of points. Well, maybe you should be.
All right. Okay. Well, look, offense is the way the league's going. Everybody loves offense, blah, blah, blah. I love violence, and we'll get to that a little bit later on. But Josh, what's grinding your gears this week?
I had 2 choices, and that was one of them. Thank you, Ari, for helping me cover both of these things. On that same ground, the quarterbacks that are currently playing are showing you something that we've known to be true for a long time. And our last conversation about Nick Foles really reminded me of this. If you are going to win in the NFL, you need to address your quarterback position in one of 2 ways. You either need to have Tom Brady or Drew Brees, maybe Aaron Rodgers or someone on that level. And that level is probably 3 quarterbacks high, unless you're in on Patrick Mahomes. I am. Or you have to have a quarterback that is a value to you. A guy on a rookie deal, like right now, Patrick Mahomes and Jared Goff. The Chiefs get Mahomes for a couple more years, and the Rams get Goff for another year to see if they're going to be that guy. I think Mahomes will be. I don't think Goff is. But the Rams are probably going to end up paying Jared Goff like the Raiders paid Derek Carr. Teams are afraid, the Vikings paid Kirk Cousins. Teams are afraid to let middle-of-the-road quarterbacks go, and you have to. You have to set them free. Keep drafting quarterbacks and using their value until you get a franchise guy, a true franchise guy, a top 5 quarterback. Then you can pay him. Otherwise, draft them and set them free.
Gentlemen, I want to abolish the draft. That's right. The draft is an antiquated method of entering talent into the league. It's ridiculous and it's stupid. So we need to get rid of it. The draft doesn't really serve a purpose. I know that they try to keep parity in the league by giving the team with the worst record the best pick, but guess what? The salary cap already takes care of parity for you. You're mandating that every team spends the same amount of money. The draft actually still helps the teams who are at the top stay at the top just because they're better at evaluating talent. Now, if you give players the opportunity to pick and choose which teams they go to, I think that helps the league in a huge way. Not only does it help bad teams get good faster, it also allows players to now have more control over where they're playing, for how much money they're playing for, and it gives some control back to the players because they need some. Owners have way too much control over their workforce right now in the NFL. And granted, nobody is crying in their beer for how little or how poorly treated professional athletes are. But you know what? I think that if you really, really want to make the NFL a better league for everybody, including the viewership, let players let players enter the workforce the same way we all do. You interview for a job. If they like you and you like them, then you can sign a contract. If not, then you got to go find someplace else to go. That's how you get rid of bad organizations. That's how you build up the good ones. And that's how you keep the NFL relevant moving forward. Because if they've got a big youth movement issue, if you want to keep young players interested in the league, you got to give some control back to the players. And that's the best way to do it. Abolish the draft.
I hate it.
You hate it? Ari hates it?
No, there was just a lot of silence.
Other than it being a horrible idea, it was a really good idea.
All right, guys, that's our.
There's some merit.
Thanks.
There's some merit there, but I wish you'd just wrap up the show already, TJ. I'm tired.
All right, that's it. Show's over. That's episode 1 of Roughing the Pundit. Get out of here.